SpaceX is about to attempt something it has never pulled off before, twice, on the same flight. This is Starship Flight 14, and here is exactly what's planned, what's confirmed, and what's still just Elon Musk talking. On August 4, 2026, during SpaceX's Q2 earnings call, Musk said the next Starship flight was coming, probably next week. That statement is the entire basis for the timeline right now. SpaceX has not published an official launch date, and the FAA has not confirmed a launch window. Treat every date you hear, including the one in this video, as a target, not a fact. So what makes Flight 14 different from the dozen or so test flights before it? Two things, and either one alone would be a big deal. First, this is expected to be the first time Starship actually delivers a working payload into orbit. Every flight so far has been about proving the rocket itself works, reaching space, surviving re-entry, not exploding on the way up or down. Flight 14 is supposed to be the first time Starship does an actual job, releasing real cargo instead of just carrying test mass. Second, and this is the wilder one, SpaceX wants to catch the upper stage, the ship itself, with the launch tower's arms. If that sounds familiar, it's because SpaceX has already done this with the Super Heavy booster, the bottom half of the rocket, multiple times. Catching the booster is hard. Catching the ship is a different problem entirely. Here's why. The booster comes back mostly empty, moving in a relatively predictable path, and it never left the atmosphere for long. The ship is a different animal. It goes all the way to orbital or near-orbital velocity, screams back through the atmosphere at several times the speed of sound, and its entire underside is covered in heat shield tiles that have to survive that re-entry without falling off or burning through. Any damage to those tiles, any unexpected wobble on the way down, and the whole catch attempt turns into a very expensive fireball a few feet from the tower that just spent years and billions of dollars getting built. So why even try it? Because if SpaceX can catch and reuse the ship the same way it reuses the booster, that's the difference between throwing away a spacecraft after every flight and flying the same one over and over, the same logic that made Falcon 9 the cheapest ride to orbit on the planet. Musk's actual long-term math for Mars and for cheap satellite launch depends on this working, not eventually, but soon. Now, the honest counter case, because SpaceX's own track record says you should be skeptical of the timeline. Nearly every Starship flight in the program's history has slipped from its original announced date, sometimes by weeks, sometimes by months. Musk has been saying, next week, or this month, about various milestones for years, and actual launch dates have a habit of drifting into the following month. Late August could easily become September or October. That's not a knock on SpaceX, it's just the pattern with a program still moving this fast. There's also real technical risk in stacking two unproven firsts into one flight. A failed payload deploy alone would be disappointing but recoverable, SpaceX would just try again. A failed catch attempt could be worse, both financially and for the timeline, if it damages the tower itself, since that tower is the bottleneck for every future launch at that site. Doing both on the same mission is ambitious. It's also exactly the kind of move that could go very right, or very publicly wrong. Worth noting too, this isn't the same event as the Chinese rocket-catching internet story from earlier this year, different company, different method, different rocket entirely. Starship's approach is catching with the launch tower arms, not a net over water. Here's the bottom line. If Flight 14 happens roughly on schedule and both firsts land, it's one of the biggest technical milestones in the entire Starship program, arguably bigger than any single flight before it. If it slips, or if one of the two attempts fails, that's still useful data, and still worth watching, because SpaceX's whole model is failing in public until it doesn't. I'll be tracking the actual date as SpaceX and the FAA confirm it. Subscribe so you don't miss the real launch coverage, not just another rumor roundup.